Tonight, we hear from a 15-year-old who said he was robbed at knife point outside a McDonald's, and he's not the only one.
I wasn't really trying to take any risks or anything. I was just, yeah, I'll do what you say.
Police say there have been 3 similar incidents near Yonge and Lawrence where teens were swarmed and robbed. Plus,
when we put things up on our website, we put everything up. We don't come out with half the story like the minister just did in there.
the provincial government appears to backtrack on expanded high school class sizes, but the teachers' union says it's a poison pill. And if you've ever wanted to jump into the page of your favorite Dr. Seuss book, you're in luck. We'll give you a sneak peek at the Dr. Seuss experience. Good evening, I'm Mike Wise. High school students in North Toronto are being told to stay extra vigilant after school after a string of robberies. Police say teenagers are being swarmed by a group of people demanding their phones, shoes, and other valuables, and it's all happening in a small radius on Avenue Road. Angelina King spoke with one teen about his experience.
This McDonald's on Avenue Road north of Lawrence is a popular place for teens in the neighborhood to gather. Among the high school chatter over the last few weeks, stories of teens getting robbed nearby.
I've heard about them and I've seen some of them, but I guess I didn't really realize that it could have happened to me.
But 2 weeks ago, it did. CBC News has agreed to conceal the teen's identity over safety concerns. He says he was at the McDonald's before heading to a friend's house when he heard 4 people on mopeds approaching him.
I was running along here and I hid right behind that bush there, up to the fence.
But they saw him and demanded his backpack and phone. He complied. He says they made him give them his phone password and email address. He thought one was holding a knife.
Were you scared?
Yeah. Heart was beating fast, and I wasn't thinking in my head like they're gonna kill me or anything, but I was definitely like nobody's here. It's a dark kind of little driveway. It's very possible they hurt me.
Once they fled, he borrowed a nearby friend's phone to call his dad and the police. His dad tracked the phone, which led to the suspects. Police say 2 people under 18 were arrested and charged. His dad calls it disturbing.
Really troubling because not only is it a safety issue, but we have to start reevaluating the way that we parent and what kind of freedom we're going to give our kids.
Police say there have been 3 other very similar robberies in an 8-day period. Officers say in all of them, 6 to 10 people wearing masks and armed with a knife approached groups of teenagers after they were leaving this McDonald's.
It is very, very disturbing to everyone, that's for sure.
City Councillor Mike Cole says several concerned parents contacted him. He says police are taking it very seriously, even deploying undercover officers. Police won't confirm those details. Cole is advising people to avoid going out late at night until all suspects are caught.
And I saw posts about it.
The teen says he's heard of at least 5 other robberies that haven't been reported to police. He says the incident has made him more aware and wants to spread that message.
But just watch out and just be careful, and it's for your safety.
Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, a big change in direction from Ontario's education minister. He says he's willing to walk back plans to increase high school class sizes. But the union representing teachers says his proposal is actually a step backwards. Farah Morali explains.
This offer is coming at a time when contract negotiations are ongoing between the Ontario government and teachers. Their contracts expired at the end of August, and they're trying to avoid a strike here. But negotiations, for all intents and purposes, have not been going well. Remember, back in March, the Ontario government announced it was increasing the average class size in Ontario from 22 to 28, and it's been the source of a lot of tension between education workers and the government ever since. Now, as part of the contract negotiations, the province has now tabled an offer to the teachers' union to decrease the average class size from 28 to 25. Here is the education minister speaking today about the reasoning behind that offer.
I think the overwhelming driver of this, the impetus for me to advance this policy, is because I think all the parties have to be somewhat flexible to get a deal. In the absence of reasonableness, and I mean, we can define it differently, but to be quite frank, I think making a material move from 28 to 25, in addition to other moves we made with CUPE, like the restoration of EWs and other critical workers, it shows that we are being reasonable.
And while that may seem like a reasonable offer, there is a caveat, and it's a pretty big one. And that is the reason why the head of the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation said today he is rejecting this proposal outright. So as part of this offer to walk back the average class sizes, the union has to also agree to eliminate class size caps in all local agreements across the province. And today, Harvey Bischoff said that this offer is even worse than the one the Ford government initially came up with, and it would effectively eliminate the maximum class sizes across Ontario.
What he refused to address was the proposal that went along with it, which is a poison pill to an already poisoned offering, that all class size cap language would be eliminated from every collective agreement in the province. So the guide rails that maintain quality education environments for our students would be removed, is his proposal. There's no upside to this.
Now, the other thing to keep in mind that this offer to decrease the average class size to 25 is still actually higher than what was previously in place. The government used to fund an average class size of 22.5. The union also says that as part of this latest offer, 5,000 teachers would still lose their jobs. All this is to say the union has rejected the latest proposal, and that only means one thing: it's back to the bargaining table. Farah Morelli, CBC News, Toronto.
And still with Queen's Park, we're getting clarity on another issue in which the province has gone back and forth. The Ford government now says it will go ahead with its challenge of the federal carbon tax.
We've made a commitment to the people of this province to ensure that life is more affordable, that we would fight the carbon tax, and that is what we're going to do to the end.
In June, Ontario's top court struck down the Ford government's case against the tax. And during the federal election, the Premier suggested it was voters who would decide what happens next. But the province now seems to be backtracking on those comments. This means the battle over the carbon tax will likely end up at the Supreme Court. Colin Kennedy's here with your first look at the forecast, and tomorrow's going to feel like autumn for the first time in a while.
Yeah, you know, you're right, Mike. We've sort of been treated to some temperatures above seasonal. Today was kind of closer to where we should be, but even this morning, I mean, our overnight low was 9 degrees, so this morning was not that cool. Well, things are kind of changing up. It's going to be a little closer to seasonal anyway, in a couple of days of that. So just slight changes, all right? Just an adjustment has to be made here, and in terms of how many layers you're wearing or what jackets you're putting on. A few showers, some isolated showers certainly possible into tomorrow afternoon, but as we go into the weekend, it looks like most of Saturday is going to be pretty good and dry for any sort of outdoor activities you want to get into, but Saturday night and into Sunday, we do have rain on the way. So keep that in mind, but let's just look at the short term then for the next 24 hours through the overnight. See how some of those clouds kind of build in. It looks like tomorrow we will have some sunny breaks, but probably more cloud cover than we will see that sunshine. And in the afternoon, watch how some of this precipitation makes its way downward towards the GTA. And so that's why we could have a few stray showers wandering through our skies. Overnight tonight, though, 5 degrees, so yeah, a little cooler to get going tomorrow, and then that high goes up to 12. We'll take a closer look at that weekend coming up, Mike.
Okay, thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
A month-long CBC News investigation has found that peer-on-peer violence in schools is all too common across the country. The story is part of our series School Violence, which looked at assaults between kids at school. Now, here in the GTA, the numbers that stood out were the number of high school students who say they have been called homophobic slurs. That number is higher than in other parts of Ontario, and it often goes unreported. Arkel DeYoon has more, but first a warning, some of the language in this story is graphic.
At 20 years old, Jonathan Samuels says he's found his tribe. Here at the Rexdale Community Health Center, he's part of this group of LGBT youth who meet every Tuesday. He's open, confident, but that was not the case when he was a new student in a large Catholic high school in Etobicoke.
They would just be like fag and gay boy and anything under the sun that you can think of.
Samuels is far from alone. According to a groundbreaking national survey of 4,000 youths conducted for CBC News, about 1 in 4 students in high schools in the GTA say they've been called hateful names or been subjected to homophobic or transphobic comments. That's higher than in the rest of Ontario, where it's 1 in 5. Samuels says the taunts made him dread going to school, and he began to withdraw.
Just being in the environment of that, it was a lot to deal with.
In Ontario, the Ministry of Education categorizes homophobic comments as violent incidents. But according to our survey, almost half of high school students who were targeted never reported it. Samuels was one of them. He says he understands why many kids don't.
The number one reason being out of fear. They're definitely going to know that you reported it and they're going to come and find you, or they're going to keep on bullying you.
Terrence Rodriguez is the founder of Rex Pride, the organization that hosts this youth group. Rodriguez was born a female, came out when he was 14, and transitioned into a male in adulthood. He says for LGBT students, it can be complicated when it comes to reporting an incident. He says some just don't think anything will be done.
If you have a student saying some homophobic term and the teacher doesn't really respond, then it's like, okay, well, how can I trust that you're going to defend me or take care of me?
And some are afraid of other consequences.
Many of them aren't out of the closet, so who do they tell? What if their parents find out? What if their other classmates find out?
He says his organization is working within the TDSB to train staff and to help set up queer-straight alliances so that more LGBT youth feel supported and comfortable reporting abuse and violence.
If we had all the answers, we would have put them in place already. Part of our issue is that we need to be better at walking into other people's worlds.
As for Samuels, after he left high school, he confronted the kids who taunted him, and they apologized.
I hope that a lot of people can do the same thing and have the same opportunity to kind of come together with people, have an open conversation, and just move forward.
Kelda Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
We will have more on these findings tomorrow. 4 out of 10 high school students in the GTA say they have been a victim of physical assault. And we spoke to a former bully about why he lashed out and what has helped him to change. And a reminder for youth who need support, Kids Help Phone counselors are available 24/7 by phone, text, or Twitter.
City Council in Whitchurch-Stouffville has some new plans to try and save this 200-year-old elm tree, but they're at the mercy of the province and Metrolinx, who want to build a brand new GO station on this property. I'm Greg Ross. Coming up, we'll tell you what City Council is proposing as a compromise.
Some big news here at CBC Toronto. Matt Galloway has been our voice of Toronto in the morning. Now he's set to become the voice of the country. Matt is making the move from Metro Morning to The Current. We caught up with him just moments after the big news was announced.
I've done Metro Morning for almost 10 years, and I love this show, and I would not leave it if it weren't for an opportunity like The Current. To talk on a national scale, a national morning radio program, is really something exciting. The opportunity to speak to an entire nation is something that I couldn't really pass up.
Galloway will make his debut on The Current in January. His final Metro Morning will be on December 6th. That is our annual Sounds of the Season fundraiser. Well, a tree that's almost 2 centuries old is in danger of being chopped down to make way for a GO station. That's why Town Council in Whitchurch-Stouffville is in negotiations with Metrolinx to try to save the old elm. Greg Ross has that story.
This tree's been here before, in the airplane, before cars. And now we're looking at just taking it down and building a parking lot and a roadway here.
Mark Carroll is the arborist for the town of Whitchurch-Stouffville. He says American elm trees like this one are a rarity in the province these days.
There's probably about 100 that are around this size in the province of Ontario.
A few years ago, the property the tree sits on was purchased by Metrolinx with plans to build an extension to the nearby Lincoln GO station. Those plans include a bus loop that would run right through the area the tree sits now.
It's, far too common to just cut down a tree, scrub a whole lot, and start from scratch.
Last month, Mayor Ian Lovett and City Council passed a resolution to identify the tree as a natural heritage feature, a move they say was widely supported by the community.
We're a growing community. Transportation's really important to us, but by the same token, if we don't take into account the heritage, we're not going to have any heritage.
It's a disposable society. We just throw away everything. I think we should save what we can. There are lots of GO stations around. Surely they can make room for one more tree.
Metrolinx appears to be listening as well.
And anytime there's something in the community that wants to be saved and is valued by the community, like something like a 200-year-old tree, we want to work together and make sure that's saved.
Some city councilors are proposing a parquet around the tree. Carroll says he needs about a 30-meter radius to ensure its safety.
And the reason I guess you'd want that space around is to protect the roots that are underground, which are probably spread.
Oh yeah, we're probably standing on the roots right now.
How much longer could a tree like this last?
The shape that this tree is in, it's in perfect shape. There's very little deadwood. It's upright. This tree could easily last another 200 years.
The mayor says he will continue to negotiate with Metrolinx to ensure it does. Greg Ross, CBC News, Whitchurch-Stouffville.
And clover by clover, with care, she picked up and searched them and called, "Are you there?" Horton hears a who. Anyone?
What he did was completely groundbreaking. I think we forget just how much impact he had on the world of children's literature.
I'm Ali Chiasson. Coming up, this next story is for you, Dr. Seuss fans. We will take you on a tour of an all Dr. Seuss themed exhibit. That's coming up.
The weather update is brought to you by Train Extreme Conditions Testing. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
The Raptors' championship run last season is now being commemorated in a showcase that'll allow fans to relive the glory all over again.
We realize that not all fans have an opportunity to be inside the building when the team plays. So it was really important for us to have a showcase experience that's open every single day for a long time, that gives every fan an opportunity to have a moment with the trophy and relive this experience for them.
The exhibit at the Scotiabank Arena features the actual Larry O'Brien Championship trophy and a replica of the team's locker room. There's a recording booth for fans to say what the team's win means to them. And those championship rings that they unveiled on Tuesday, well, you can walk away with a replica of your very own.
Fans also get to experience the championship ring collection here as part of this tour. They can not only try on the rings, but also purchase them, just like this one here. And there are also other rings and other pendants available at the experience.
Now, the showcase is free to fans who have registered on the Raptors mobile app. It's on until November 18th. Colette Kennedy's back with her extended forecast. I don't know if the winds this week, whether there's any fall leaves still on the trees this weekend, but only one good day to check them out.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You know, you get all these leaves on the ground, and then when we get some rainy conditions in here, it gets pretty soggy for trying to rake them up. So I'm going to give you a clue. This weekend, try and do that on Saturday. Sunday is not necessarily going to be your day, and we'll show you how that's all going to time out here. I just want to point out our average high at this time of year, it's about 12 degrees. So we're seeing more seasonal air moving in. Now, our overnight low tonight won't be quite this cool. Average low is between 2 and 3 degrees, but we're going to be going there Friday night into Saturday. And also at this time of year, more and more each day, we're seeing some sort of record snow, although it may be minor, just under a centimeter there from 1945. And snow on the ground on this date in history, there were 5 centimeters as well back then. So I look at what's going on then with this next system that's just kind of pushing through. It's sort of the back end of things, and it's not that big a deal. We will have some extra cloud cover into the day on Friday, and then some of these showers working their way down, although somewhat scattered and pretty light in nature. But we may see an isolated shower coming through the GTA, and that risk as well towards southwestern Ontario. So that's taken care of kind of Friday through the day. Friday night clearing out. Saturday then, that means starting off very nicely towards Lake Ontario. Now watch southwestern Ontario. We're going to see the cloud cover and the rain building in late afternoon, and we'll see the cloud cover coming in into the afternoon towards Toronto, and then into the evening and overnight hours. Saturday is when we get into the showers, and then some rainfall for Sunday, and that's why Sunday is going to be that soggier day. Overnight tonight, 4 to 5 degrees in southwestern Ontario. We're going with 5 for you there in Windsor. Isolated shower risk into tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures kind of knocked back towards this, temperatures of 12, 13 degrees. Again, it's not too bad. We're still talking about double digits and near seasonal readings too. Overnight tonight, there you go with your readings around the GTA in terms of those lows, and keeping in mind that we reach those 7, 8 a.m. We tend to at least reach them towards that time. So it's really how you're starting the day off. It's not just through those overnight hours in terms of where you get to those lows. Tomorrow afternoon, this is how it looks. Some stray showers certainly possible. Some extra cloud cover in there as well. Saturday, we should have some sunshine early, then the clouds coming in. You'll see the temperature still at 11. It does spike for the second half of the weekend, but it's hard to make the best of that when it comes with some rainfall as well. But that temperature headed up to 16 for Sunday, Mike.
All right. Thanks a lot, Colette.
You're welcome.
Today marked the first day on the job for the newest safety officer for Toronto's transit system, and he certainly has the nose for the job. Officer Dash is an explosive detection officer. He trained for 12 weeks with his handler to recognize more than 20 scents related to explosives. He is now responsible for sniffing out any potential threats across the transit system. But if you see him, don't pet him. Metrolinx says Dash is there to focus on his very important job. Do you like green eggs and ham? Well, if so, you might love the new Dr. Seuss exhibit. Whether you're a fox in socks, a turtle named Yertle, or a reformed Grinch, the brand new fantastical experience has it all. Ali Chasson brings us this story all the way from Whoville, Mississauga.
Oh, the places you'll go for fun, like inside an old sports check outside of Square One. Okay, I'll leave the rhyming to the doctor. Seuss, to be proper.
With this experience, we like to imagine if he were here today and he walked through this, maybe he'd find it fun. And
Like Dr. Seuss stories, the 7 themed rooms have lessons of love and learning, starting with the Lorax.
It is a fantastic room. It's tactile, it's about senses. You can smell and hear the sounds of the truffle forest as we imagine it, and you can take a seat on a swing.
The Lorax is such an important story.
Right.
It's just so relevant. It has been for so long with the environment.
Absolutely, and it's about preserving what's important. With this show, we're not bombarding people with messages, but it's something we want people to feel. We want people to feel that something as beautiful as this should be preserved.
What was your favorite Dr. Seuss book?
The Cat in the Hat.
He's a natural, look at him.
He's here too, with Thing 1 and Thing 2.
This is the best kind of news story.
It took designer Max Painter and his team about 2 years to bring the Dr. Seuss experience to life.
So what book is this one based around?
This is Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are? It's about this poor chap who's taken his machine apart and he just cannot fix it. So we've got a whole bunch of things over there you can break and fix and have fun with.
This must have been so much fun to dream up. Lots of work though, 2 years.
Yes.
How do you get inspired?
Well, the books themselves are very inspirational. What we're trying to make here is what we think the Dr. Seuss world would look like if it actually came to life.
Clever use of the infinity mirror idea here too.
We're not trying to make it about any one group, we're just trying to make something that truly is fun for the whole family.
Can I count on you watching CBC Toronto News at 6 tonight?
Of course you can, if I'm still awake. It's been a long day for me.
I love it. Thank you, Cat in the Hat.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Well, that report by our Ali Chasson, I think she had way too much fun out there. That's our show for you tonight. Thanks for watching. Talia Ricci is here tomorrow night. Good night.